All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call this meeting to order. This is the Norwood City Schools Board of Education regular meeting for February 18th, 2021. The Norwood City School District Board of Education follows a bi-monthly meeting schedule. The first meeting of the month is called our committee meeting. At this meeting, we discuss fully our agenda for the board meeting to be held the third Thursday of each month. As board members, we encourage you to attend, watch, and listen to our committee discussion, which results in action at the board meetings. For full disclosure, our committee meetings and board meetings are always announced, video and audio taped, as well as posted to our webpage for your view. All of our meetings are public. Visitors are welcome. Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood.
Present.
Ms. Ballard.
Present.
Mrs. Cole.
Present.
Mrs. Rayburn. Mrs. Rare.
Present.
All right, everyone, please join me in the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the
To the
flag
flag
of the United States of
America,
and to the
to the
republic
republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty,
liberty,
and
justice
justice for all.
All right. Item number 1.04 in our agenda is the adoption of tonight's agenda. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt tonight's agenda as written.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion or changes that need to be made to the agenda? No. Ms. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood.
Yes.
Ms. Ballard.
Yes.
Mrs. Cole.
Yes.
Mrs. Rayburn.
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica.
Yes.
With that, our agenda has been adopted for tonight. Items 1.05 and 1.06, which is our last housekeeping items, are approving the minutes for our regular meeting from January 21st and our minutes from the special meeting on February 9th. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from those two meetings.
I'll second.
Any discussion about the minutes? Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood.
Yes.
Ms. Ballard.
Yes.
Mrs. Cole.
Yes.
Mrs. Rayburn.
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica.
Yes.
All right. With that, the minutes have been approved. We'll now move into section 2 of our agenda, which is presentations. And we'll start off with a very special presentation. I'd like to turn this over to our athletic director, Mr. Alex Hines.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have a couple amazing feats that senior Kevin English achieved this past year and over the past 4 years, actually, as a student athlete here at Norwood. Things that haven't happened here in a very long time, and we are very proud of him. So we wanted to share some of that with everyone at this time. So beginning with February 3rd, in regards to football, he signed with the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, which is a Division I FCS school. He is the first Norwood player to sign with a Division I school since Mark Edwards in 1992. From everything that I've seen from him the past 3 years, I mean, the work in and out of the classroom, on the playing field, that's the reason for his success, and we wish him all the best in his next 4 years. I believe they want him to play wide receiver, maybe tight end for the Golden Lions, and it'll be exciting to watch him play on Saturday. So his career stats, just in 4 years here, he played in 29 games, 1,778 receiving yards, 128 catches, and 20 touchdowns, which is amazing. So we want to congratulate him on that. And then just this past Friday, he joined the 1,000 Career Points Club, and in basketball, he also broke the school record for the most points by a boys basketball player at Norwood, which was actually held by J.D. Faust with 1,002 points, and he actually beat that by quite a bit that night. He got 22 points, and now he's at 1,020. We're just honored to present him with the game ball that night, and we were able to celebrate with the other 1,000 point scorers in Norwood's history as well: Hannah Tubbs, Kim Pruitt, Natalie Stopel, and J.D. Faust. So, great job, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hines. I know we do have Kevin's basketball coach, Mr. Jason Bosey, on, and I just want to give Mr. Bosey a chance to say a few words as well. You're on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, we're just so proud of him. When we say things like we haven't had an athlete since Mark Edwards, it's true. He's a generational type athlete in football, basketball. That I tell the boys when you're a senior is leave the program better than when you started, and he has exemplified that. He has made not just basketball but football and athletics at Norwood. He's raised the bar. He's a great kid to be around, and it was a special night for sure. Like to thank Alex and everyone that was involved. It was great to see the alumni come back. So it was a very special night for sure. Congratulations, Cav. Love you, buddy.
Love you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bosey. I just want to add, and I'll let others add as well, that I've had the privilege of announcing a lot of Kevin's basketball games over his career here. And, it's just so much fun to watch a kid with that kind of talent and humility, succeed in the game. So with that, it's pretty impressive in order to score 1,000 points over your career. So just to think about it, if somebody plays varsity basketball all 4 years, that comes out to be about an 88 game career. And so over that course, in order to get to 1,000 points, you need to score at least 12 points a game. And there are a lot of varsity high school basketball players who don't score 12 points a game. What makes this a little even more amazing is that Kevin did that in only 63 games. So basically that's a 3-year varsity career with probably a few more games left to go. But that's over averaging over 16 points a game. And that's just simply amazing. So does anybody else have any words for Kevin?
I just want to know who you're hoping to get drafted by so we know what team we can come and support when you get there, Kevin. I just see it coming. Don't forget a shout out when you make it to the Super Bowl. It's going to happen. We're proud of you, man. We're super proud of you.
Thank you.
All right. Kevin, is there anything you would like to share with the group and with the community?
It's been fun. 4 years, man, Norwood. Like, all the coaches have been good to me. All the people have been good to me. And I was like, if I can do it all over again, I'd do it the same way.
All right. Well, thank you. You're a very special kid. We appreciate everything that you do, not only on the field or on the basketball court, but we appreciate everything in the classroom as well. So you're a true student athlete.
Congrats,
Thank
Kev.
you. Thank you.
All right. With that, we will move on to our student rising stars.
Thank you, President Atwood. I'm pleased this evening to announce the Rising Stars for February. Norwood High School Rising Star, Luz Michelle Gavarete. Luz Gavarete is a rising star at Norwood High School because she gives 100% in everything she does. Luz comes to school every day and even extends her day to continue her studies and to get help from Mrs. Rosiello. All of this is voluntary so that she can complete her courses and graduate by the end of the year. Mr. Schulte will tell you that Luz is the most driven student he has ever had. She has completed more courses for him than any student in his tenure. Luz is doing this all while learning English as a second language. Her first is Spanish, and she's only been in this country for a little over a year. Luz is a native of After a recent natural disaster in her country, Luz created a GoFundMe page and a clothing and food drive for her family and friends in Honduras. With the money that she and her family raised, they were able to send all of their donations back home. Luz is a joy to be around because she's always positive and smiling. Congratulations, Luz. Norwood Middle School rising star, Rose Reddick. Rose Reddick is a special student that we are lucky to have in the middle school. Rose has been a joy to have at Norwood Middle School. Every morning, she walks into the room with a huge smile on her face and greets the teacher or tells a story from last night. After she has greeted the teacher or told her story, she is quick to turn around and make sure she tells everyone else a hi, and usually one of her fellow classmates. Rose is the type of person you always want to be around. She is caring, funny, positive, hardworking, and is always putting other people before herself. Her positive attitude and smile is contagious. Rose's hard work in the classroom doesn't go unnoticed. She has especially excelled in math this year. She takes great pride in her attendance, in her work while she's in school, and when she's at home. Rose always wants to be challenged. If she's given something that is too easy, she'll tell the teacher, I could do something harder. She's always trying to better herself. She brightens up our classroom with her jokes and her stories. Her classmates love having her around, and so do her teachers. We couldn't be more proud of the student she is, but more importantly, the person she is. We all know she will do great things in this world. Congratulations, Rose. Sharpesworth Rising Star, Griffin Lillard. Sharpesworth Preschool has chosen Griffin Lillard for the Rising Star of the Month. Griffin has been in our preschool classroom for a little over a year and has made tremendous growth. Griffin is excited to come to school and is eager to learn. Griffin is a great leader within our classroom and is someone peers enjoy playing with and talking to each day. Griffin loves telling jokes and making his friends and teachers laugh. He gets along with everyone and always makes sure each one of his peers is included in every activity. He is so incredible because of how much he cares about others. While in preschool, Griffin has learned to write his name and is working on learning all the letters of the alphabet and counting. Griffin wants to be a police officer when he grows up, but for right now, he's excited to tackle kindergarten in the fall. Congratulations, Griffin. Norwood View Rising Star, Delvin Nolasco. The fifth grade team at Norwood View proudly nominates Delvin Nolasco as a Rising Star student for the month of February. Delvin has shown great leadership and dedication to his academic achievement since the very first day of school. He is a student who always completes his virtual assignments at home and is the first to join our Google Meets. He is eager to learn, never complains, and always gets straight to work on any task laid out for him. He is looked up to by his peers as a role model for perseverance and work ethic. He tackles challenges with diligence and has often finished his work before anyone else. This doesn't stop him, though. He continues to push himself by reading more books than he is assigned and by solving additional problems given to him. In addition, Delvin is polite and kind to others and often strives to lend a helping hand to anyone in need. He is a true example of a peace builder and of a person who can meet obstacles head on. He is indeed a bright and shining star here at Norwood View. Congratulations, Delvin. Williams Avenue Elementary, Rising Star, Harper Chirumbolo. Harper Chirumbolo is an enthusiastic second grader at Williams Avenue Elementary. She thoroughly enjoys learning and goes out of her way to keep herself occupied with academic tasks, often diving into critical thinking tasks and writing her thoughts and notes in her writer's workshop notebook. Harper continuously looks for ways to improve her learning, with her favorite subject being mathematics. Harper focuses throughout the day on her academics, but also makes a sincere effort at continuing a PAX leader mindset. Harper strives to incorporate her best work in all areas and never falls short to see where she might be able to improve. Harper likes to think things through. When asked what she wants to be when she grows up, she stated she has a plan. She asked the server at Skyline if she could work there because she loves it so much. They said they would hire her when she turned 16. She later went home and searched the web on how old do you have to be to have your first job. It said a babysitter could be around 12 or 13 years old when they start. So she said that's what she wanted her first job, what her first job will be. After her first couple jobs, Harper said she would love to be a gymnastics coach. Harper stated that her teachers at Williams are incredible because they teach her new and important things all the time. They also encourage her to always try her best. Congratulations, Harper. Norwood Virtual Program Rising Star, Ayana Hunter. Norwood Virtual Program is proud to announce that our rising star is fifth grader Ayana Hunter. Ayana consistently demonstrates the hard work and dedication needed to be a successful virtual learner. She spends hours every day completing her assignments, attends all group Google Meets with her fifth grade teacher in her special area, also checks in daily with her teacher to get help with assignments and see what she can do to keep her grades strong. All of this work alone makes her an A student, but how she has stepped up to help others is what makes her exemplary. She consistently accepts the position of co-teacher during Google Meets, sharing her screen and showing reading assignments and her worksheet as she types the work being completed by the class. She has taken time from her work schedule to meet with new students and their teacher to show them the ropes of how to navigate the online platform. She gladly accepted her teacher's invitation to help lead the tutorial for fourth graders and their parents to show them how to submit work through a newer technology tool, Kami. This training session was saved and has been used several times since then for other new students and teachers to learn this process as well. We could not be more proud of the work that Ayana has done this year to accomplish her goals and how she continues to help others to try to achieve their goals as well. Congratulations, Ayana. And lastly, our District Rising Star aide, Darlene Burns. We are so grateful to have Mrs. Darlene Burns as a student aide at Norwood View. Her dedication to the staff and the students at View is evident as soon as she walks into the building each day. Mrs. Burns is empathetic to both staff and students. She is genuinely concerned about the well-being of everyone at Norwood View. In addition to her positive demeanor, Mrs. Burns is always willing to assist our amazing students by modifying their work. She also keeps students on task, holding them to high standards, and helps by gathering useful data for the teachers. Her content knowledge and her words of encouragement have helped many students successfully complete assignments while building confidence in their learning ability. Mrs. Burns has an amazing work ethic. She collaborates well with others and is liked and respected by the entire staff. She is self-motivated, always willing to step out of her comfort zone and take on new challenges. She will often come to work early or stay late in order to see a job through. On the busiest of days, she is able to multitask, prioritize, and manage her time effectively. Mrs. Burns does not shy away from responsibility. She goes above and beyond expectations and takes personal pride to make sure her assignments are complete. Mrs. Burns has been a valued member of the Norwood View staff for 22 years. There are a lot of patient, hardworking people in the educational field, but none quite like Mrs. Burns. We recognize her for being such a significant part of the students' lives and a wonderful friend to everyone in the Norwood View family. We are so proud of our colleague, Darlene. Congratulations. And that concludes our Rising Stars for the month of February. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share that.
You're muted, Brandon.
I was just thanking Mrs. Chesson for doing that and also congratulating all of this month's Rising Stars. So I was muted.
Can I add one little bonus?
Sure.
I know that we have our Rising Stars, but I do want to make a special notice for the work that Mrs. Dykes has done this month, 3 months. She's gone above and beyond with creating additional materials to do and that will share information on Black historians, scientists, authors, all sorts of really rarely touched on people that don't get the recognition that they truly deserve during this time of the year. And she has agreed to send out the materials that she was using as a resource for some of our other teachers if they want to take advantage of her Zoom class that she has organized. So I just want to say thank you for her efforts, and I really appreciate them for what she's doing this month.
All right. Well, thank you to Mrs. Dykes for all of that hard work and for sharing that for Black History Month. All right, we're going to move on to section 3 in our agenda, which is our Education Committee report. And I'd like to turn this over to board member Mrs. Sally Raber.
Thank you. There's 2 items on the agenda for the Education Committee. Both are dates for next year's parent-teacher conferences. So for the for the high school and middle school, those will be September 23rd, October 14th, February 3rd, and March 3rd. And for the elementary school, it'll be November 1st, November 4th, February 7th, and February 10th. And that's all that we have. So I'd like to make a motion to accept these dates for conferences for next year.
I'll second.
Discussion about these dates? I know it's tough to plan so far in ahead. So, I mean, we set these dates now just so people can plan their schedule around that, but everything is subject to being altered. Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood,
Yes.
Miss Ballard,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Mrs. Raber,
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica.
Yes.
With everyone voting yes, the dates have been accepted. We'll move on to section 4, which is personnel, and I'd like to turn everything over to Superintendent Ronan.
Thank you, President Atwood. The first thing under employment, I would like to welcome to the Norwood family, Tanya Woodruff. She is going to be a student assistant for a student at Bobby Fairfax. So we are very glad to have her. The second item, we have hired some coaches. I believe that Alex went over them with you at the committee meeting. We have Maddie Baker, boys varsity track, Hannah Reinhardt for girls varsity track assistant, and Carbon Abley as boys varsity track assistant. And there is a third item. And the third item is a one-time contract modification for our technology department staff. You know, they have truly been wonderful during this pandemic, keeping our virtual board meetings going and 1,800 students on Google Meet every day. And that concludes the employment section. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the employment recommendations from items 1 through 3.
I'll second.
Any discussion on these items? Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood,
Yes.
Miss Ballard,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mrs. Raber,
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica.
Yes.
All right, with that, the employment recommendations have been approved by the board. We'll move to section 5 in our agenda, which is the Buildings and Grounds Committee. And I'd like to turn this over to board member Mrs. Debbie Cole.
Great. Thank you, Mr. President. We have one request for facilities this month. This is from Pastor Chuck Smith of the Valley Church. They're requesting Shea Stadium for an Ultimate Frisbee League. This is Wednesdays, February 17th through May the 5th from 7 to 9. This is a level C request. So I would like to make a motion to approve the facilities request for Mr. Chuck Smith.
I'll second.
Any discussion on this request? Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood,
Yes.
Ms. Ballard,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mrs. Rayburn,
Yes.
Mrs. Verica.
Yes.
All right, with everyone voting yes, Mr. Smith and the Valley Church can use Shea Stadium for their Ultimate Frisbee League. So it should be lots of fun. All right, we're going to move on to item number 6 in our agenda. This is the Finance Committee report, and I'd like to hand the reins over to our District Treasurer, Mrs. Julie Camphouse.
Thank you, Mr. President. The sale of our bonds to fund the remaining construction project is complete. $7.5 million were wired to our construction fund this morning. We now have the funding needed to complete the remainder of our renovation projects. On the agenda, all the financials are attached for your review and approval tonight, as well as the change order listings. 6.02, our appropriation resolution. You're approving our current budget. 6.03, Ohio Coalition for Equity and Adequacy of School Funding. We are recommending the board join Ohio E&A as they fight to stop Ed Choice voucher expansion. 6.04, North Norwood lease. This is a 2-year lease extension for Hamilton County ESC. 6.05, Norwood High School commissioning proposal. SHP, our architecture firm, has recommended that we contract with ZHCX to provide further efficiency and value from our new HVAC system at the high school. It's next on our project list. 6.06, substantial completion for Sharpesworth parking lot. And 6.07, certificate of substantial completion for Sharpesworth elevator. This is when our projects are considered substantially complete and the warranty period begins. 6.08, and our last attachment for finance, notice to bid for the high school phase 2 project. We will advertise to bid the high school phase 2 renovation project, and we'll collect bids on March 11th. The first advertisement is in the Inquirer, and second will be on our webpage at norwoodschools.org. And that is the end of finance.
All right, I would like to make a motion that we approve the finance items 6.01 through 6.08.
I'll second.
Any discussion on those items? So there's a couple of things I just want to highlight here. So in the financial reports, we did talk about our daily membership, especially this year with everything that we've gone through. We have stayed steady with the student membership levels here in the district. And I think that is just a testament to the communication that we have given out to the community throughout this entire pandemic to keep kids within the district. And I think there's a lot of hard work that went into that. And I just want to thank everybody for their efforts in making sure that we offer a place for kids to go. The other thing that I want to highlight here is, having the funding to finish the renovations for the district is a big deal. So in 2016, when the initial bond levy was passed by the community, that was purposefully done at a shortfall because the district ran into debt limitations at the time. And so in the preceding or the succeeding years from that, we have put ourselves into a position to where we could finish the funding sources needed in order to complete the renovations for the high school. And so achieving that feat is, I think, fantastic, and just a weight off of our shoulders to know that we can complete that work. And then the last item I would like to highlight is the joining of the Coalition for Equity and Adequacy. So this is the group that had successfully went after the state over the unconstitutional funding formula and won 4 times. Right. So now this group is going after the constitutionality of what the folks in Columbus are doing with vouchers. And I think it's a worthwhile effort for us to join that cause. Anybody have anything else? Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood,
Yes.
Ms. Ballard,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mrs. Rayburn,
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica.
Yes.
With that, all of the finance items have been approved, and we can move on. Item number 7 of our public meeting is the hearing of the public. We've had no emails come to our public email address for us to hear. So we will just go ahead and move on to item or section 8 of our agenda, which is our reports. So 8.01 are board announcements. So does anybody have any board announcements they'd like to share with the group?
I do.
Go ahead.
I can let Alice go first, or okay, I'll go first. So this upcoming Saturday, February 22nd, from 10:30 to 11. I think Debbie had mentioned Chuck Smith through the Valley Church. His program that is setting us up for shoe donations will be there on Saturday morning. You have to be in line between 10:30 and 11 a.m. to receive shoes. It's just going to work like a Chick-fil-A drive-through. You're just going to pull up, give them your sizes, and they're going to go and get you guys some tennis shoes. They are free to anybody in the community to bring their children and come on up to the school at that time. It'll be in the middle school parking lot. So please participate, take advantage of that. If you can't make it though, and you do need shoes, or a child in need, our middle school also has socks available as well that they can do anytime. But this is specifically Saturday, February 22nd, 10:30 to 11 a.m. Be there and be in line.
All right, thank you. And I believe we have a board announcement from Mrs. Rarica.
I was going to remind people that there are some Black History events going on around town. Innovations in Richmond are doing some. You might have seen the flyer posted on some of our community pages. They've done some on Saturday night. They watch a movie together and then have a discussion after about the significance of it. On Wednesday nights, they have some sort of trivia. And last Saturday and this Saturday, they will have a march.
All right. Thank you for that. I do have a couple of announcements I'd like to make. Number one, the boys bowling team has reached the district level state competition. So they're one step away from bowling at the state championships. So that's the first time, I believe, in school history that our bowling, are not just a member, but the entire team has qualified for districts. So I think that deserves a shout out. And our girls basketball team just beat CHCA in their state playoff game. And so they're headed to the sectional finals. And I don't know if we know who that is yet or not, but congratulations to both of those teams. Any other announcements?
We made it to Mars today.
Oh,
That's an announcement.
we made it to what?
We made it to Mars today. So
Perseverance landed. Yeah.
That's right. And so if you want to partner something with Black History Month, go watch Hidden Figures, because without those ladies getting us to the moon, we wouldn't have gotten to Mars today. So that's just a kind of a neat fact.
That was the first Saturday's movie.
It's a great movie.
I was going to say we've been delivering the lunches, and it was so amazing this week that we had a lot of volunteers step up to help us, and Amber was mostly in charge of them, and they got those lunches out in between the two snowstorms. So
I had to walk up a hill because my car wouldn't make it. So I walked all the way up one of the streets from the bottom of the hill just to deliver the lunch. So felt like the mailman.
All right, we're going to move on to 8.02, which is the superintendent's report. Superintendent Ronan.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are continuing to plan for the Williams move to the middle school this summer and also the transition to middle school for grades 5 and 6. We sent letters home to families last week explaining all the moves, and we're developing a question and answer page that we'll post that the team of teachers is working on just to really cover the most frequently asked questions. And we will keep in touch with families throughout the spring as information becomes available to keep everyone informed and make sure that it goes smoothly. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Superintendent Ronan. We're going to move on to 8.03, which is our Great Oaks report with board member Mrs. Amber Ballard.
Thank you. We had our meeting this past week in the middle of a snowstorm, so the majority of our board members attended via Zoom. I managed to trek my way up there, though, and participated in my very first salary committee meeting. Given that I've joined the finance committee on this board and I'll be working with the salary committee, I feel like this is my year for numbers. We mostly focused on new insurance packages for the employees, so that'll be interesting coming up this year during negotiations. We, in our other committee that I'm on, is the Equity and Diversity Committee. We have booked Dr. Ernst and Dr. Coates. They're both from the area. One is from Thomas More College, the other is from Miami. They are going to be doing a implicit bias training for our board members on March 10th. They continued, they're going to feed off of materials that we had at the Vision conference in December, which was again via Zoom. So this will build on skills that we've already been exposed to. On February 9th of this month, the applications were due from students to come in for next year. And we've already received 1,749 applications for student enrollment for next school year, which is more than 2018, slightly less than last year, but with COVID numbers, the application process will still grow. We're going to spend the next month and a half looking at our class volume, and we'll still be taking in applications. So if you have students at home that are still considering the Oaks as an option, it is still available to you, and we have space in many of our programs. Bids also went out for our new space in Diamond Oaks. We're expanding to include a vision technician pathway. We're also doing updates to our cosmetology, sports medicine, and exercise science programs there. And our Scarlet Oaks, which is more familiar from our community, is adding a new adult program lab for HVAC and heavy equipment. So if you've got adults in the area that want to go back for any type of licensure for HVAC and heavy equipment, we can take care of your training right there at Scarlet Oaks. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Ballard. And now we'll move on to 8.05, which is our OSBA legislative report. And I'd like to turn this over to board member Mrs. Sally Raber.
Thank you. So late in January, Governor DeWine signed an executive order that implements budget reductions for fiscal year 2021, but also partially restores the cuts that were made in fiscal year 2020, which were a total of $300 million that year. So this executive order makes the net reduction for fiscal year 2021 $140 million. So a little more than half back. There was a slew of new legislation submitted to some of the highlights of those. House Bill 1 would introduce a new school funding formula. House Bills 40 and 67 both are looking to waive state testing requirements for the 2020-2021 year, which would require the ODE to seek a federal waiver and provide exemptions from the state report card. And then also House Bill 43, which would permanently authorize public bodies to meet via teleconference and video conference, which has been especially applicable this year. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Braber. Next, I'd like to move on to the Norwood Community Television Board Report and hand this over to Board Member Mrs. Debbie Cole.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this month we have a continuation of things that they were working on last month. So they're streaming wrestling, swimming, and middle school basketball. And just as a reminder, you can watch those on YouTube, Facebook, or Vimeo through the Norwood Community Television. And also their after-school film club started last week, and they are working on stop motion videos, and he said the kids are having fun with that. Also, the virtual spring and winter orchestra concert was recorded, and that was live last week. You can also find that link on those places as well. And they are continuing work on Mrs. Kabesh's podcast. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Cole. And then finally, we have our Avenues for Success report. I'd like to hand this over to Board Member Mrs. Alice Barica.
Over to us. Okay, they've been developing a QR advertising flyer project, and it is completed. They have a Kroger QR fundraiser flyer, and it includes a sign-up tutorial. Their middle school and high school club rewards program has started. I heard from my own child, she's excited about it. If they attend so many classes or so many clubs, then they get Kroger gift cards. And then their next family fun night reunion is March 10th. We'll have this is so awesome. We will have a snowman animal object building contest. The Stanton family of the famous Norwood Snowcat will be our guest judges. The winning sculpture will win a $50 gift card. I'll be sending out a survey next week to determine our family's need for summer programming. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Barica. And that concludes all of our reports. Next item on our agenda is section 9, which is future meeting notifications. Looks like on our schedule, our committee meeting is slated for March 9th, and the regular board meeting is slated for March 18th. It says locations to be determined, but we may try to make those meetings in person for those who can make it in person. So I would like to make a motion that we approve future meeting dates.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Miss Ballard,
Yes.
Mrs. Rayber,
Yes.
Mrs. Barica.
Yes.
With that, the March meetings have been accepted. And finally, since we have no items removed for separate consideration, our final item is adjournment.
I'll motion.
I'll second. Any discussion on adjourning? Please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood,
Yes.
Miss Ballard,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mrs. Rayber,
Yes.
Mrs. Barica.
Yes.
With that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for all of your hard work.